Welcome back. You're still watching Politics Tonight, digging beyond the headlines. And now to our interview with the guest of the day. I am joined by the National Coordinator of the Southwest Agenda for Asiwaju SWAGA, Senator Adeyeye, a teacher, journalist and lawyer. Adeyeye is a prince of Isa-Ekiti in Ekiti State, southwestern Nigeria. As a pro-democracy activist, Adeyeye was a member of the National Democratic Coalition, NADECO, after which he became the spokesperson of the Alliance for Democracy, AD, as well as the National Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, in 2016. He was a governorship aspirant in Ekiti State under the AD in 2006 and the PDP in 2018. In 2014, Senator Adeyeye was appointed by President Goodluck Jonathan as the Minister of State for Works. In February 2019, Adeyeye was elected senator for Ekiti South Senatorial District before the court upturned his election. Thank you very much for joining us, sir.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Now let's get started. Now, after you lost your bid to return to the Senate, you became very active in the political field, selling Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu to the people of Nigeria. And also you started this project so early. I'm keen to know what prompted you to push for Asiwaju to become president of Nigeria.
Thank you for that important question. I have known Asiwaju for quite some time. As you have said rightly, we are the National Democratic Coalition together, and I happen to be the National Public Secretary of Afenifere from 1999 till about 2004. And that period, I have a very good opportunity to interact with Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And it also afforded me the opportunity to evaluate his performance as the governor of Lagos State. And what I discovered was that this was the best performing governor of his era. He turned Lagos around completely. He set new parameters for governance in Nigeria. And I give you an instance, which I have also mentioned on other occasions. In 2001, Afenifere constituted a panel of eminent Afenifere personalities into two groups, one led by Chief Adeyeye, former governor of Kwara State, the other by Professor Bolaji Akemi, former minister of External Affairs. And I happened to be a member of that committee. Our responsibility was to canvass the length and breadth of Southwest, to look at the performance of our governors then, the AD governors, 6 of them, who are elected on the platform of the AD. And as you know, AD was a political party formed by Afenifere. At the end of the exercise, we came to the conclusion that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu was the best performing governor among the 6 of them. And that impression had always been with them. And in an era in which Nigeria was sinking, in which people were losing hope, in which things that was despair everywhere, I thought, together with some of my colleagues, that we need a strong leader, somebody who has the capacity, the ability, and the experience to move Nigeria into a new direction. And we came to the conclusion that person was Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So what actually propelled me is my absolute belief in his capacity and his ability, and nothing else. I believe that as a patriotic Nigerian, we need to find that leader who can help us solve some of the myriad of problems confronting the nation at this very moment. And so we started very early. There are people who said we were starting too early, but we told them, well, of course, this is the presidency of Nigeria is a serious business. And we are not going to wait at the last minute. We need to start early to convince many people, the doubting Thomases, that this is the right choice, that this is the best person to move Nigeria forward.
All right, so before embarking on that project, did you discuss with him, or you were simply hoping he would agree to run?
No, we didn't discuss with him. We simply started. We are like-minded people who believe so much in his capacity and his ability. And so we started the project. We were convinced that over time, we will be able to persuade him to throw his heart into the ring and join the fray. And that's exactly what happened. But we needed to at least be able to convince him that he has tremendous support, not only at his home base in the southwest, but even throughout the length and breadth of Nigeria. And as you know, even though SWAGA was initially supposed to galvanize its support within the southwest, it later on moved into other zones of the country, to Kwara, to Kogi, to Niger, to Akwa Ibom, to Delta, to Nasarawa State, and so many other states of the Federation. So people saw the tremendous we were doing, the grassroots were convinced, the leaders were convinced, Obas, chiefs, the clergy, they were all convinced. We were able to persuade them to join hands with us, to persuade this man of exceptional character, of exceptional ability, of incandescent intelligence, to join us. I mean, to come in and help us rescue Nigeria.
All right, distinguished. So after you succeeded in getting him interested in the race, were you really convinced that Asiwaju would survive the presidential primaries of the APC and become the candidate of the party? And if Asiwaju had not won the primaries, what would you have done?
We were convinced, because when you put your hand into the plow, there's no looking back. We were convinced that he will win the primaries. As a matter of fact, I used to tell some of my colleagues that one good thing about this, about our project, was that the man we are projecting is the one who has the necessary grit to fight, and to win. Because that is very essential in any struggle. The person who is leading it, the man we are projecting, must be the one that has the ability, the capacity to fight and win. And he has that grit. And we believe that, well. And as you could see, we're actually not contesting in that primaries. You know, those who are talking about Southern agenda, that would not have happened. So we are lucky that we had him on the ballot. And we're also lucky that he fought this general election. I'm not sure if there is another person who could have been able to succeed. So we were convinced, we knew that he was going, that with our support and with his own personal capacity and ability and the structure that he had built for himself over the year, the goodwill that he enjoys in many parts of the country, the fact that he has tentacles all over the place, with his vast experience in governance and in politics, we were sure that he was going to succeed. And we were never even contemplating that we were going to fail. We never even imagined it for one day, so we have no second plans at all. Our plan was, well, we will work, Asiwaju will win the primaries, we will keep on fighting, and we will win the general election. And we thank God Almighty that God answered all our prayers. And today he is the President-elect of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
So after he won the primaries, was there any time you feared that he may not, win the presidential election, especially given the Naira crisis and the crippling fuel scarcity experienced in the months and days leading to the presidential election?
Yeah, there were a lot of people who feared that he might not be able to, that too many obstacles have been erected on his way that may prevent him from reaching his goal. But we were also convinced that Nigerians are intrinsically very good people who can understand issues. And the moment they realize that all those issues we have mentioned were deliberate obstacles erected on our part, we were able to make our case to the public, and I believe a sizable number of the Nigerian electorate bought into our argument, and they made up their mind that this was the man to rescue them. Look, for example, on the issue of the currency scarcity, Asiwaju was the only presidential candidate, the only one that sympathized with the sufferings of the masses. He came out strongly to oppose it and to say that the policy should be reversed, even though that policy had been instituted by the government of his party. You could remember that Atiku Abubakar and even Peter Obi, they came out supporting the policy because they thought it was to their own advantage. They thought that policy will make Nigerians to hate the APC and, by implication, hate the presidential candidate of the APC and not vote for APC. But they were wrong. Nigerians saw through them that these people were mere power mongers who were seeking power at all costs who do not have the interest of the masses at heart. So he was the only one who came out boldly to say that this policy was not in the best interest of the people, and the people are suffering too much, and the government should reverse it. So, and you know that God Almighty always also come on the side of the righteous. So those who thought they will profit from the suffering of Nigerians, at the end of the day, they were disappointed.
All right, so on this program, and some members of the PCC have attributed your party's victory to, unity of the party. Some have said a better campaign strategy, and others have said the personality of the candidate himself. But for you, what factors, in your view, enabled Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu to win the presidential election?
We attribute it first and foremost as a religious person to God Almighty. You can see the divine hand of God in this election. Number two, to Asiwaju's own personalities, capacities, abilities, experience as a politician, as an astute politician. And also, thirdly, to the unity of the leadership of the party. If you look at it, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu was able to try as much as possible to bring the party together, not to allow it to disintegrate, not to allow disunity to creep in. So, immediately after the primaries, he went around to meet all his competitors, all those who are challenging him in the primaries. He went to their various houses to solicit for their support. He did not look down on any person. And he continued to work with the APC governors, with all the stakeholders in the party, meeting with them, and ensuring that there was cohesion in the party. Unlike some other political parties who are thinking they could win an election when they were so fractured and divided. So we were lucky that within the APC there was no fracture, there was cohesion. There was not, if there were problems, it did not come into the open. And it was not such that was going to jeopardize the chances of the party in winning the elections. So it was a combination of his experience as a politician. Is able to with people together, and the fact that we have a party that was ready and prepared to continue to retain power.
All right, so despite the victory, APC lost the states with the highest number of registered voters, states like Lagos, Katsina, Kaduna, Kano. How did this happen?
Well, most important thing is that we won the presidential election. We lost some of the states you have mentioned, Lagos, and that is why I keep on being very, very angry about those who are trying to delegitimize these elections, who are trying to say that this election was never free and fair. How on earth could Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu have done so much for Lagos, who had been in charge of that area since 1999, and this is presidential election? How could he have lost? If it was an election that could be rigged, that could be manipulated, there's no way he could have lost Lagos. Let's face it. And Obi would have won Lagos. So this election had been the best in the history of Nigeria. It has been the fairest and the freest and the most transparent election since the advent of democracy again in 1999. I have participated in every election since 1999, either as a contestant or as a voter or as a major supporter of any person who was contesting. And I can testify, I can say without any fear of contradiction, that this election of 2023 had been the best in the history of Nigeria. This is an election that created a lot of upsets. 20 governors lost their states in the presidential election. Children of governors, sitting governors, lost election into the House of Representatives. Many of the governors who wanted to go to the Senate could not make it. And the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria could not even deliver his state to the president candidate of his own party. So, and so many instances like that. Obi did not have a single agent in my polling unit. Obi did not have any agent in my polling unit. Yet, Obi won votes in my local government. He won votes in my polling units. You did not have to have agents in everywhere. This election was so transparent, was so INEC should be commended. Rather than anybody castigating INEC, Nigerians should be grateful and continue to commend INEC. And those who are saying that this election has been manipulated, the question I ask, prove it. We know that the process of election is along this line. Everybody goes to their polling unit to cast your votes. The votes are counted. They are recorded in Form C8A. And every agent of the political parties sign these papers. And from there, it is taken to the ward level, where the same process will take place. The votes from the polling units are collated at the ward level, and then the agents of the political parties also sign these papers. And then from there, you move to the local government level, and the same process will also take place. Then to the state level, and ultimately at the national level. If you are saying you are rigged, all you needed to prove was to demonstrate the fact that this is the vote given to me by my agent in a particular polling unit, and it is different from what has now been collated. That's all you needed to prove. That's all you needed to prove. So, but we have not seen that. We are only saying that people have been saying the results were not uploaded on real time. They were not, IRF was not functioning on the day of the election. That does not prove, that does not indicate that the election had been rigged or manipulated. And now that the results have been uploaded into IRF, please come and show me these discrepancies. They have not been able to do that. Because if you say the election was rigged against you, what you needed to demonstrate is to say, okay, my vote in so particular unit should have been 300, but I was given 150. I have not seen anybody saying that. You are merely shouting that the thing was not uploaded. And I want to tell you that there was no even need, that is not even an excuse. Because if you are a real politician who is very serious about, who knows your onions, we are now in the era of technology. Everybody has a phone. In my own area, what I simply told those who are close to me and my local government was that take the pictures of the result in your polling unit, upload it to a particular person using your phone. How is that different from uploading into IRF? And then you simply confirm, later on you collate it and you relate it to the result that have been declared. I can tell you that even before INEC declared their result in my local government on the day of the presidential election, I already know the result because each of our agents had been able to take a snap of the result at the polling units and send it to a particular WhatsApp platform from where we were able to collate it. People are making a mountain out of a molehill. They are creating an impression that by not uploading to the IRF, therefore the election was never transparent, therefore the election was never free and fair. This is absolutely wrong. We had the best election in the history of Nigeria. The beavers worked perfectly well, and I want to commend INEC for doing a fantastic job. We have to change this narrative of the anarchists who want to throw Nigeria, who want to destroy Nigeria at all costs, by casting aspersion on the integrity of the chairman of INEC, by trying to imply that anybody manipulated these elections, which is not correct. It's not correct. From what you can see, this election has never been manipulated. And I give you another instance. In the case of Nasarawa State, one of our senatorial candidates was not given a return ticket in the primaries. He went to SDP. He won the election under the auspices of SDP on the day of the presidential election. And in that state of Nasarawa, LP won the presidential, yet two of them were able to win their senatorial seats using the platform of SDP. How was that manipulated? Tell me.
All right, distinguished. Now, the election is over, but the outcome is still generating reactions. Why this? Some are angry about the process, while others are upset about the outcome.
Because Nigerians, these people are bad losers. They want to throw Nigeria into chaos. They know inside them that this election was very free and fair. This election has been the people who are making the greatest noise are even those who you could even have suspected of manipulating in their own various areas. Look at it. Ashwaju did not win 1% in any of the southeastern states. 1% of the votes. And we are not complaining. Yes, it is possible that all of them decided that they were going to vote for one person. It's possible. And these people, and I believe that they are being sponsored by internal and external saboteurs, and this is why security agencies to investigate them. They want to throw Nigeria into chaos. Can you imagine some people will be advocating for interim government? What is interim government? On what basis? What will be the mandate of the interim government? And on what legitimacy? What will confer legitimacy on them? I don't know. So we have had an election. People have voted. The results have been counted, and the result declared, and a certificate of return issued to the winner, and the winner is now the president-elect of Nigeria. And by the grace of God, he will be sworn in on May 29 this year.
We've also seen that the PDP presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar, and that of Labour Party, Peter Obi, have challenged the outcome in court. Are you worried about this, and how much confidence do you have that you will be able to defend the mandate in court?
I think going to court is a reasonable thing for them to do. Our constitution is very comprehensive. It has made provisions for people to ventilate their grievances through certain avenues, and the court is one of them. In fact, it's the main one. So if you are not satisfied with the outcome of an election, you go to court, and court will be the final arbiter. So that is it. I'm happy they have gone to court. Well, it is their constitutional right to go to court. But we wait for them there to come and prove how the election has been manipulated. We are waiting for them to do that. So
how confident are you?
But they have taken the right step. I'm confident that at the end of the day, because like I have said, I have repeated it over and over, that this has been the best election in the history of Nigeria. Some people are making noise that it's the worst election. That is, I don't know on what basis. This has been the best election in the history of Nigeria. And because of that, our judiciary will do the right thing. They will uphold the wishes of the people of Nigeria. They will uphold the mandates that have been freely given by the people of Nigeria to Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So I'm very confident that at the end of the day, those who have gone to court, yes, have gone there, but at the end of the day, the result of the election will be validated by the courts.
So you've also asked that INEC gets some kudos for this election, but some have also boldly said that INEC gets all the blame for the loopholes and discrepancies experienced during that election. Do you agree with that?
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. Like I said, I participated in many elections. How do you blame INEC for? What are you blaming INEC for? I want to know. INEC conducted a free and fair election. The beavers worked perfectly well. Elections were collated at the appropriate levels, and nobody had been able to dispute that there are discrepancies between what was collated at unit level, between the result declared at unit level and what had been collated at the local government, state, and federal levels. Nobody had been able to see that. Nobody had been able to give us an alternative figure. I would have expected Labour or even a PDP to come out and say, now we have gotten the result from all our agents from all the units in Nigeria, and this is the result we have. They have not been able to do that because they know that the INEC has declared the correct result. They know that. So INEC cannot be blamed for anything. If there are pockets of violence around the country, in some places in the country, pockets of violence, are you blaming INEC for that? Was INEC the cause of the violence, or the politicians themselves who want to make sure that who do not want the process to work effectively and efficiently?